Trump killed Fable 5, not banned it, not regulated it. He killed it. 3 days after Anthropic launched, the most powerful AI model America has ever produced, the Trump administration pulled the plug on it overnight with a single letter: no law, no court, and no trial. The smartest AI in the country was gone. They'll tell you it was national security, but it wasn't. It was a government that spent a year hating this company, finally finding its excuse. I'm Alex, I'm a lawyer, and I'm going to tell you why it was flat out illegal for the Trump administration to retaliate against Anthropic like this. So let me catch you up fast, because if you blinked, you probably missed it. On June 9th, Anthropic launched Claude Fable 5, the most capable AI model they had ever built. 3 days later, the Commerce Department, the federal agency that controls what America is allowed to export, sent Anthropic a private letter. We don't actually know what that letter says because the government, they still won't make it public, which, by the way, is a problem all on its own. But we know what it did. Anthropic had to pull the plug on Fable 5, not just for foreign users, not just overseas, for everyone, worldwide, including their own employees. 90 minutes after that letter landed, the smartest AI in America went dark. And the reason the government gave? Fable 5 could supposedly be jailbroken into a cyber weapon. Sounds terrifying, right? Yeah, until you ask the actual security researchers who basically just laughed. The big scary jailbreak was asking the model to read some code and point out the bugs. That is exactly what every other major AI does right now, including the models the government isn't panicking about. So no, I don't buy the security story for 1 second. And once you see how the Trump administration has treated Anthropic for the last year, I don't think you will either. Here's the part the administration would much rather not be the headline. For a year, the Trump administration has been at war with Anthropic. The president called them woke, the radical left, his usual spin of insults. Earlier this year, the government slapped Anthropic with a supply chain risk designation, basically a scarlet letter for a tech company. Coincidentally, this happened right after Anthropic refused to let the US military use its AI for domestic surveillance and autonomous weapons. Coincidence? The Pentagon threw them out, and an official said, and I'm not inventing this, that it's forever. And when a reporter asked the White House's own AI czar why Fable 5 really got pulled, he reportedly blamed it on personality differences. Personality differences. The federal government unplugged the most powerful AI in the country over some personality differences. That is not national security. That is a grudge with a government stamp on it. The Trump administration spent a year hunting for a way to hurt Anthropic over a grudge. And an export control letter is the weapon they finally found. Now, let me show you why that weapon is illegal. And there are 2 separate reasons, so stay with me. Reason number 1, writing code is protected free speech. Legally, it's expression. When you write software, the law treats it like writing a book, a recipe, a piece of music. The people who build it are creators, expressing something. Courts have said this for 30 years. So when the federal government tells a company, you're not allowed to release a software, it is akin to book banning or jailing a reporter. It's censorship, flat out. And it's worse because of how they did it. The government didn't wait for Fable 5 to actually do anything wrong or harmful and then decide to punish it. They reached in and shut it off before anyone could even use it. Lawyers have a name for that. It's called a prior restraint. And it's about the most forbidden move there is when it comes to free speech. Think of it this way. There's a world of difference between a cop arresting you for something you actually said and a cop standing over your shoulder deciding whether you're even allowed to open your mouth. The first one might be fair. The second one, silencing you before you've said a single word, that shouldn't happen in America. Except that's exactly what the Trump administration just did to Anthropic. They unplugged the printing press before a single page came out. And if that rings a bell, it should. We've been here before. The Pentagon Papers in 1971. The government sprinted to the Supreme Court screaming, "National security, you can't publish this." And the court said, no, flat out, no. National security is not a magic word you wave to make the Constitution vanish. If it wasn't good enough to stop a newspaper from printing actual classified war secrets, it is sure as hell not good enough to delete the most powerful AI model because the model embarrassed some people in Washington. And the second reason, and honestly, this might be the more outrageous one, is due process. Due process is one of the oldest, simplest ideas in American law. Before the government takes something from you, your freedom, your property, your business, it has to play fair. It has to tell you what you did, show you the evidence, and give you a chance to defend yourself. A hearing, your day in court, that's all it means. The government does not get to point at you and pull the trigger. This isn't North Korea. Let's look at what Anthropic actually got. They got a letter that the government won't even make public. There's no hearing, there's no evidence on the table. Anthropic says all they got were verbal claims that they were never even allowed to see and 90 minutes to comply. That is not a process. That is a hit job. Picture this. The city decides to bulldoze your house, and all they hand you is a sealed envelope and a stopwatch. No inspector, no hearing, no appeal. You don't even get to read the complaint against you. You'd lose your mind, and you'd be completely right to. That is exactly what happened here, except the house was the most advanced AI model in America. Now, this is the spot where I'll be fair to the other side. The administration's defenders do have a comeback. 2 of them, actually. And I want to walk through them because they sound convincing until you slow down and you really start to understand. So the first one, they'll tell you it's not a ban. It's just an export control. Well, here's what that means. An export control is a law that limits what American technology is allowed to leave the country. It's meant to keep missile parts and nuclear secrets out of the hands of foreign adversaries. And the defenders will tell you foreign nationals overseas don't have American constitutional rights. So restricting their access is fair game. And technically, that part is true. Here's why it doesn't save them. The company getting crushed is American. The model got shut down right here for everyone, including every American who was using it. You don't get to censor an American company's speech for all of us, Americans, and call it controlling foreign access. And the second comeback, courts defer to the government on national security. Judges don't second guess these calls. Bullshit. Checks and balances. Deference is not a blank check. It does not mean the government says the magic words and then gets to do literally whatever it wants, although it might seem like it sometimes. That is the entire lesson of the Pentagon Papers. The moment the government can't actually show its work, no public standard, no hearing, no evidence, just a secret letter, a grumpy old man in a bad mood. The deference runs out. And there is no version of this where the government showed their work. So you might be thinking, Alex, I don't even like Anthropic. I don't use Claude. I use a different model. So why do I even care? Because the precedent that was set is the scary part. Forget Anthropic for a second. What the federal government just proved is that it can do this. It can reach out and delete the single most powerful piece of software in the country overnight with one letter. No judge, no law, no warning. And once they've proven they can do it to Fable 5, there's nothing stopping them from doing it to the AI tool you depend on. The model your business runs on, the software you spent 6 months wrapping your whole company around, one letter and it's gone. You had no say, and there's no number to call. This was never a fight about one AI lab. It's about whether the government gets a kill switch on the tools the rest of us build with. And the worst part is, it appears they did it over a grudge. So, where does this actually go from here? A couple of moves to watch. First, there are already cracks. Just last week, after Anthropic's CEO sat down with Trump at the G7 summit, the White House suddenly eased its concerns. Funny how fast a national security emergency cools off once the personalities get in a room together. But here's the tell. Fable 5, it's still offline. So the emergency was apparently negotiable, which tells you everything you really need to know. Second, this is headed for a courtroom one way or another. Anthropic is already fighting the administration over a separate attempt to blacklist them at the Pentagon. And a federal judge has already told the Pentagon it can't do that. The free speech groups are circling. If Anthropic decides to actually fight the Fable 5 order, which they certainly will, this precedent, it can't be let to stand. This becomes the first real test of whether the government can use a missile export law as an AI kill switch. And based on everything I just walked you through, I don't think it survives. But the resolution that actually matters isn't in a courtroom. It's the precedent that's now sitting in front of us. Even if Fable 5 switches back on tomorrow, the government has shown every person in America that the rug can get yanked by letter at any time if you don't see the world in the way the administration in power sees it, and that changes how you build. So let me leave you with the part that should make you angry. The most powerful AI model this country has ever produced is sitting in the dark tonight. Not because it was dangerous, but because the wrong people in Washington didn't like the company that built it. That should scare every single one of us. Now, this is AI code that works, so I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you how to actually protect yourself from this. Here's the secret. The specific AI model is the least important part of building with AI. When you build with real structure around your work, the context, the rules, the system that holds it all together, you can swap Fable 5 out for the next model or the one after that and never really miss a beat. The government can ban a model. It can't ban the skill. Building the right way. That's what's really important. So you're never at the mercy of just one company, one model, or one politician's mood. And that is exactly what I teach. The whole method is free in my school community at school.com/AI code that works. And the link, it's right below this video in the description. So go make yourself uncancelable. I'll see you in the next one.